Welcome everybody to Aftermatch Wrestling presents After Week in Review, Week 2. This week I want to talk to you guys about both Raw and SmackDown from the previous week. From, I believe, April 30th for Raw and SmackDown on May 1st. And I also want to get into my predictions for the BackLash pay-per-view coming up tomorrow on Sunday. And for probably some of you today on Sunday. And then I've got a few notes from the week that I want to talk about. And that'll be at the end of the video. So if you want to skip my reviews, probably skip to about halfway through. But I want to get into Raw. Raw was a pretty awesome show for the week as far as the crowd goes, because that Montreal crowd was very, very hyped for this show, especially when they essentially started out with the golden opportunity to boo for Roman Reigns, and then the golden opportunity twice to cheer their heads off for both Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Yeah, I was really hyped with the crowd when I watched this show, because I just the cheers that they did for Sami Zayn, and then the ovation they did for Kevin Owens was just loud. I think I had to turn my TV down because I watch it after work, and I got home and it was probably pretty late by that point. Anyway, Reigns opens the show talking about the title controversy coming out of the Greatest Royal Rumble, where he says his feet hit first, and then the ref actually gets on Twitter and apologizes for making the wrong call in the moment. And then we get Joe on the Titantron, and he says, he lost the match. Reigns lost the match, and he needs to be focused on Joe, because Joe, come Sunday at BackLash, is going to put down his spiraling career. Which was a great promo by Joe, but we should be used to that after the last several weeks of great promos from Joe. And then we had Jinder Mahal interrupts this segment. And he's a native Canadian, although I don't think a lot of people recognize him as a native Canadian because of his gimmick. So he doesn't quite get the same kind of pop that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens gets. Of course, they're not only Canadian, but they are super local. They are within a couple of stone's throws from that stadium. I think 15 minutes for one and 30 to 45 minutes for Kevin Owens. And Mahal basically wants to challenge Roman Reigns. And then Sami Zayn comes out to aforementioned huge pop. And he says he wants to challenge Roman Reigns. And then Kevin Owens comes out and wants to challenge Roman Reigns. And I'm wondering why everybody wants to challenge Roman Reigns. Shouldn't they be challenging the actual champion, Brock Lesnar? But of course, he's not going to be around until, I guess, maybe Money in the Bank. I'm hoping Money in the Bank, because I'm going to Money in the Bank. So it'd be cool to see Brock Lesnar actually defend the title at Money in the Bank. But we will see. Maybe he'll keep the title until SummerSlam, and we won't see him until the last 2 or 3 weeks of Raw before SummerSlam. Who knows? It'd be a real shame if that's the truth, but who knows? Basically, Roman Reigns, I think, goes to hit Kevin Owens, or hits Kevin Owens, and then Jinder Mahal attacks Roman Reigns, and they all three attack Roman Reigns. And then for some reason, Bobby Lashley comes out to make the save, which I guess is okay, because he's a face, and a face coming out to help a face, fine. But then Braun Strowman comes out to help them, because of course 3-on-2 they're kind of getting beat down, and it doesn't make sense to me why Braun Strowman would come out to help Roman Reigns in any form or fashion, even if he is a babyface now. It doesn't make sense, but whatever. Yeah, it was just, a couple months ago he was throwing Roman Reigns on a gurney off of a dock or something and flipping over an ambulance, and Roman Reigns backed a truck into a post, or into a something. He tried to kill Braun Strowman, but he's just going to forget that and come out and help. And of course, this becomes a 6-man tag match for later on in the show. And I guess that makes sense and it's fine and whatever. It's predictable WWE, and at this point, I guess we're all just okay with it. Even though it doesn't make sense for Braun Strowman to be teaming with Roman Reigns in any form or fashion, but whatever. And then we had an Elias promo, which even in Montreal, it's Elias just gets over like gravy on mashed potatoes, man, or bacon on anything. Which, by the way, I hate bacon. So your terrible comments about me for hating bacon can go below. But for now, Elias, he just seems to have the crowd in the palm of his hand no matter where he goes. But especially in, I guess, a city like Montreal, and hopefully like it'll be in Chicago for Money in the Bank. Hopefully that'll be an awesome crowd. Like Chicago is supposed to be an awesome crowd. That's why I'm going. That's why I'm driving 6 hours to go to Money in the Bank in Chicago, because that's the place to go if you want a hot crowd. And I hope to be part of a hot crowd. So we had Bobby Roode come out and break up the fun with Elias, and then they had a match, and it was a pretty good match. And I did not see the turnbuckle to the throat, but I knew something was going to happen with that turnbuckle because I saw Elias pull off casually or whatever, pull off that little sleeve that covers the bolt, and so I knew something was going to happen. I just figured it'd be a head to it, not necessarily his neck. But that was a pretty brutal end to the match, and I guess Elias wins via, I don't know what you would call it, no contest, I guess, or just referee stoppage, even though the bell never actually rang. But Elias declared himself the winner, and I guess he's the winner 2 times in a row. So we'll see where that goes with Rude. Again, my theory about bringing all these SmackDown mid-carders over to Raw just to bury them seems to be holding true up to this point. Then we had AOP, the Authors of Pain, come out, and they faced, I've got this written down, Jean Paul and Francois in a squash match. And then cut a promo after the match saying the Book of Pain is open or whatever, but basically reminding us why they had a manager to begin with before they ditched him their first night on Raw. Something tells me they aren't going to be very great on promos, at least not yet. Now that they have to do promos for themselves, hopefully they'll get better like Big Cass did. But we shall see. Seth Rollins comes out for his segment, and I've got a lot of notes on this. First and foremost, I don't see why this shouldn't have been the opening segment to Raw instead of Roman Reigns. Like, I guess to get Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens out there in front of the crowd to start up, but this was a pretty good segment because, of course, it had Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and The Miz, Taraj, and it was pretty funny. It would have been a great opening segment, but whatever. Seth Rollins comes out to say basically that he wants to be a fighting champion unlike Brock Lesnar. And he can actually get the heat for a comment like that Roman Reigns can't. So this should tell you something, WWE. Maybe it's not the gimmick, maybe it's not the guy, maybe it's just the wrong guy with the wrong gimmick. And this needs to be something Seth Rollins does, where he faces Brock Lesnar to try and bring the title back to Raw. And Roman Reigns should be somewhere else doing another gimmick. Not the Superman babyface gimmick. But whatever. Anyway, Finn Balor comes out to interrupt the promo and says that if you're going to be a fighting champion, how about fight me tonight for the title? And Rollins basically teases it with the crowd that he might say no, but of course his character can't say no. He's going to say yes. But then the Miztourage come out and interrupt. And they actually got me here. The Miztourage got me. And I thought the Miz was coming out on Raw. I was like, okay, well, I mean, it makes sense. He's got a match with Seth Rollins at BackLash, so why not come over to Raw just for one? No, it was the Miztourage. And they got me. I was bummed when I saw it was Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. But anyway, by the way, my favorite part of this segment was before they came out, where Rollins was teasing whether or not he was going to